Imagine sitting behind the wheel of a car that doesn't just drive, it roars like a panther. 9,000 RPM, carbon fiber body, Formula 1 tech. Yeah, I know, big flex league, and it's from Lexus. Yep, the brand known for luxury rich sedans. This car was a masterpiece, but no one bought it. And why? I ask myself to this day. I've always wondered, how could something so perfect, so cutting edge fail? Today we're diving into why the LFA, despite all its brilliance, was too much for its time. But before we continue, as always, don't forget to hit that like button and turn on notifications on our channel. I see you ready? Then let's go. Before we dive into the beast that is the Lexus LFA, let's rewind. Toyota. Yeah, the brand known for the Camry and Corolla, reliably but not exactly thrilling. Back in the 60s though, they wanted to wow. And that's when the Toyota 2000 GT was born. For me, it looked like something straight out of a Bond movie. Sleek, fast, and proof Japan could compete with Europe's best. Fast forward to the late 90s, Toyota was killing it with sales. But the sports car scene, not so much. Ferrari, Lamborghini, McLaren were dominating, and Toyota wanted in. Enter the Lexus LFA, a car that, in my opinion, redefined what we thought about Lexus and put Toyota in the supercar conversation. Trust me, it's quite the story. And believe it or not, the tale of the LFA didn't kick off in some sterile lab. It started in a bar in Hokkaido. Wish these kind of ideas hit me up in my pub. Picture this, Haruhiko Tanashi, one of Toyota's top engineers, sharing drinks with his boss, Tetsuo Hattori. As the sake flowed, the conversation turned to cars. Tanahashi, fueled by ambition and probably a few too many drinks, began to share his audacious dream, building a car that could take on the world's best. I mean, who doesn't want to build a supercar, right? This wasn't just some casual chat. Tanahashi was envisioning a vehicle that would elevate Toyota and Lexus to the same level as Ferrari and McLaren. To my surprise, Hattori didn't laugh it off. Instead, he encouraged Tanahashi in that bar. Amidst laughter and dreams, the foundation for the Lexus LFA was set. Before long, the project got the green light, and Tanahashi dove into what would be known as Project P280. Initially, the idea was to create a V6-powered sports car to fill the gap left by the discontinued Supra. But as the project developed, so did the ambitions. A V6? Nah, I guess that wasn't going to cut it. If they were going to make a statement, they needed something that would shake things up a bit. I see that as creating not just a car, but a true icon. And I have to say, the leap from idea to execution is nothing short of exhilarating. Building the LFA wasn't just about dropping a big engine into a light body. It was about precision. Lexus didn't cut corners. Every detail had to be perfect. And it all started with the heart of the car, the engine. The LFA's 4.8-liter V10 was developed with Yamaha, not just for performance, but for sound. And let me tell you, it sounds incredible. Revs to 9,000 RPM. And the high-pitched wail? That's no accident. Yamaha, with their expertise in acoustics, made sure the engine note would remind you of a Formula 1 car. But I will emphasize, it wasn't just about the noise. This V10 was an engineering marvel. It could rev from idle to redline in 0.6 seconds, faster than most dashboards could even register. I dug up the info and found out that they had to build a digital tachometer just to keep up. Insane! I should tell you about the weights of this bad boy. The LFA's body is made from carbon fiber, which wasn't even part of the original plan. They were going to use aluminum until Toyota's head of R&D suggested carbon fiber. It was a gamble, especially since Toyota had no experience with it. But as the result, I see that as a win-win. It became lighter and stronger, with perfect balance and handling. To my surprise, the LFA wasn't mass-produced. Each car was hand-built, one per day, with meticulous attention to detail. Everything from the chassis to the steering wheel was custom-made. But I guess that's what made the LFA so special. It was a masterpiece of craftsmanship. And then, after all that crafting, Lexus decided to take the LFA to the legendary Nrburgring. And that's for me personally where things got really interesting. No legendary car is complete without facing a true test. And for the LFA, there was only one place worthy, the Nrburgring. I'll put it this way, if you know anything about racing, you know this track called the Green Hell is 13 miles of pure challenge, 170 turns, crazy elevation changes, and enough danger to keep even the best drivers on edge. For me, the Nrburgring wasn't just where the LFA was tested, it's where it was forged. Every lap transformed the car, pushing it closer to perfection. And leading that charge, Toyota's legendary test driver, Hiromu Naruse. This guy was a tuning genius at Toyota. Naruse had a unique philosophy. You don't just drive a car, you connect with its soul. And he did exactly that with the LFA. Every detail was fine-tuned by him on the edge of the Nürburgring to make sure this machine wasn't just fast, but perfect. And here's what I love. Nrburgring wanted the LFA to feel like a natural extension of the driver, like a continuity of the samurai, his blade. The car responded to Nrburgring instantly, like it read his mind. After years of pushing it to the limits of the Nrburgring, the LFA was finally ready for the world. Sadly, there is bad news headed towards the Toyota team. In June 2010, Hiromu Nrburgring, the genius behind its performance, tragically died in an accident while driving an LFA Nrburgring edition prototype. It happened near the famous German track. Nrburgring lost control and collided with another car. Honestly, when I heard the news, that hit hard. Nrburgring was the heart and soul of the LFA, dedicating years to perfecting it. I think it's safe to say his vision shaped this vehicle. His death left a massive void, but the Toyota team pressed on, determined to honor his legacy by finishing what he started. A noble deed in my opinion. The Nrburgring edition, released shortly after his passing, became a powerful tribute. I believe it perfectly captured what Nrburgring envisioned: lighter, faster, and even more track-focused LFA. And the market went silent. Here's a kicker. Despite all the innovation and meticulous testing, the Lexus LFA struggled to find buyers. I know, crazy right? You'd think a car that sounds like a symphony and performs like a dream would fly off the shelves. At around $375,000, the LFA went head-to-head with legends like Ferrari and Lamborghini. I think many buyers thought, why spend Ferrari money on a Lexus? And honestly, who can blame them? Lexus just didn't have the street cred in the supercar arena. Then there's the branding issue. Before the LFA, Lexus was all about luxury sedans and SUVs, not high-performance thrillers. Huge leap, in my opinion. Lexus needed a better strategy to show that they could deliver supercar performance. Third, let's discuss the leasing program. Instead of letting people buy the car outright, Lexus made it complicated. And it's a big no-no for me. You had to lease it first, complete with restrictions. I mean, who has the time for that? If I'm spending that kind of cash, I want to own it, not deal with a lease. Timing played a big role too. When the LFA hit the market, Nissan launched the GTR, an incredible performer at a fraction of the price. For a lot of folks, it was just more practical. I think that's common sense. $100,000 for a GTR versus $375,000 for LFA. I guess you wouldn't think long and hard about that. All these factors combined meant the LFA never really took off. It was a victim of its own ambition, a car so ahead of its time that it became too niche and pricey for most buyers. What a shame. In my opinion, this car deserves to be celebrated. Today, I think it's safe to say the Lexus LFA is regarded as one of the finest supercars ever made. But still, personally, I can't believe that some models are now selling for over $1 million at auction. What was once a tough sell has turned into a hot collector's item. Only 500 examples of the Lexus LFA supercar were produced globally. The Lexus LFA was priced from $700,000 before on-road costs locally when it was new. However, examples have increased in value significantly in recent years. So, in 2017, the company announced that there were 12 of them left. That announcement started a sales boom that saw 3 examples sold in that year, 2 more in 2018, and 3 more in 2019. So, if I do my maths right, there are still 4. Brand new examples of the Lexus LFA sitting in showrooms across the country. Let me know, could you save up for this beauty from your school or uni lunches? Or you can purchase this thing with a blink of an eye. Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, smash that like button and subscribe for more content about the world's greatest cars.